Hey everybody, it's Mariana with Three Peaks Classroom. If you are brand new to my channel, first of all, welcome. I'm super happy that you are here. But also, I am a grade 3 and grade 4 teacher here in Alberta, Canada, and I love to make helpful YouTube videos for other educators just like you. In today's video, I want to dive in and dissect the brand new grade 4 curriculum that is taking place this September. There are changes happening in language arts and in math and health and wellness as well. So in today's video, I want to break down the brand new language arts curriculum for you so that you know the changes that are happening, you know what's to expect, you know how many outcomes you're required to cover, and I also want to share some resources that you might find helpful for yourself for this upcoming school year. So similarly to last year, I did an entire video covering the new grade 3 curriculum. I wanted to go through the changes and what you can expect in terms of like what to teach in the units as well. So I'm going to be diving in as well. Before I do that though, you're going to want to print off a copy of the new curriculum for yourself. And it's really simple to do. You just have to go to the new Learn Alberta website, click on the new curriculum. You're also going to click on language arts. And then from there, you can select which grades that you want to print off. And so for the purpose of this video, I went ahead and I just printed off the grade 4 curriculum so that we can go over it in today's video. So I have 2 copies of the curriculum. I have a beautiful fresh copy here that we are going to mark up together with some notes. And I'm going to show you how I number all of my outcomes so that if you do want to go ahead and use any of the resources that I talk about in today's video, then you know where the heck I got those numbers from. You'll see how I number those as well. I also have a very, very well-loved curriculum in my hands here. And that's because I have been poring over this document for the purposes of my resources, but also for this video as well, so that I have a really good understanding of the brand new language arts curriculum here in Alberta in grade 4, so that I can pass on that knowledge to you. Before I dive in, I do want to make mention of 2 resources that I'm going to be referencing a lot in this video. I will leave the description and a link to the resources in the description of this video so that if you are interested in learning more about the resource, or if you already know you want to grab yourself a copy, I will leave all that information in the description. I'm going to be talking about my brand new grade 4 year plans that I have created. These year plans are designed to be aligned with the brand new curriculum as well. So all of the language arts outcomes, everything is listed here, and everything is in a month at a glance format. So I'll be talking about my grade 4 year plans a lot. And I'm also going to be talking about my language arts notebooks. So this is my reading notebook. I also have a writing strategies notebook, and I have a grammar and convention notebook. Now this is my old version. This is the version that was aligned with the old curriculum. I am right now currently in the process of updating all of these notebooks to match the brand new curriculum that I have here. But these will be ready to go in the next week or so. So even if you buy yourself the old copy, you will get the new updates as well. Anyways, so if you're watching this in real time, just rest easy and know that these updates are coming right now. All right, let's dive right into the curriculum. So the very first unit that jumps out at me, or the very first unit on the page, is the organizing idea of text forms and structures. And basically, the purpose of this entire unit is for students to realize that the way that something is structured aids us in understanding it better. So the way that a fictional narrative is written, you can expect as a reader that there's going to be a problem, and there's going to be characters that need to solve the problem, and there's going to be a climax of the story, and then it's going to resolve with a solution. That helps you in understanding the story, as well as there's poetic structure, and there is a structure to nonfiction writing as well. Also understanding the reason why an author has written something. All of that has to do with how the organization of text and the structure of text can really help us as readers to understand what the text is trying to communicate to us. So you're going to be going into a lot of detail about examining different kinds of structures. You're going to be talking about fictional narratives. You're going to be talking about poem structures. You're going to be talking about nonfiction and the way that some fictional texts can be laid out with opinions as well. You're going to be talking about author's purpose and point of view. All of that is kind of taken care of in your very first unit. And I found that weaving these outcomes in through with my other units has really helped to bulk up those units and give really good purpose and meaning behind it. Okay, the second unit is called oral language, but I don't want you to be confused by the title. I don't want you to think that it's just about oral storytelling or like Indigenous oral storytelling. That's definitely where you can infuse some Indigenous learning is in this unit, but this unit has a lot to do with presenting. So if you're giving a presentation, what can you do to make your presentations more engaging? Or this one talks about, your tone of voice, and when you are standing in front of the class or when you are reading something, how can you adjust your voice, your volume, your pitch, all of that to make it more captivating? This also talks about group work. So in the old curriculum, Unit 5 was a lot about group work. So they've embedded those group work skills here in this second unit. And it's not just about storytelling, but it's also about receiving the information. So are you being an active listener when you are sharing in a group dynamic? Are you listening to your peers' ideas? Are you listening to a presentation? So oral language is talking about both sending oral language, presenting it, and receiving the oral language as well. So the main idea for this unit is how can listening and speaking strengthen relationships. Now, relationships to people, relationships to text, relationships to stories, whatever. How can listening and speaking strengthen those relationships? That is the focus for the second unit here. Unit number 3 is all about vocabulary, but having a really good understanding of where vocabulary and words specifically originate from. So here there's a lot of emphasis on etymology of words, word origins, root words, prefixes, suffixes. You're also going to be talking about tier 2 words and tier 3 words. So really infusing that subject specific and higher vernacular into your language arts program as well. And the overarching understanding here is how can understanding where a word originates from, how can that deepen and really strengthen your understanding as you read and write. And if you're wondering, how are you going to teach about word origins, etymology, root words, prefixes, suffixes, all of that, I do have that all covered in my grade 4 grammar and conventions notebook. We have a whole page on word origins and prefixes, suffixes, root words, all of that is taken care of in my grade 4 grammar notebook. So if you want to grab yourself a copy of that, again, the link is in the description of this video as well. There you can see a preview of the grammar resource as well. Unit number 4 is super short and sweet. There's actually only 2 outcomes in unit number 4, and it talks about fluency. And so basically students are going to be practicing how to become more fluent readers, and you can cover all of that in June. I like to do Reader's Theater in June, where I print off a bunch of scripts and we practice fluency. Now, of course, fluency should be practiced throughout the entire year, but in the month of June, this is a really easy and fun way to practice fluency that requires virtually no prep at all. So that's why I always like to plan it in June in my year plans as well. So you'll see in June, I have Reader's Theater listed and all of the outcomes that go with that. But not just fluency as well. This is also where I like to weave in some of those outcomes in unit number 2, talking about, making sure that you have the right pitch and volume and inflection in your voice when you are reading and showing your fluency as well. So I like to embed that all with unit number 4 and unit number 2 in Reader's Theater. Unit number 5 is a big one. It's not the biggest unit, but it is a big one. It's very important. Unit number 5 talks all about reading comprehension and really understanding what you are reading, but also understanding if you make a mistake or if comprehension breaks down while you are reading. Students should be able to have and practice the metacognition that they need to realize, oh, this is where it's breaking down for me, or I have a really hard time staying focused, or I get really distracted here, or I don't have a very good understanding of these words. That is part of this unit number 5. In unit number 5 too, there is a really big focus on having a really good understanding beyond what you read. So you have the text laid out in front of you, but can you make an inference based on information that you already know and based on what you've read in the story? Can you inference about something that's going to happen in the story? Or can you make a prediction about what could happen in the story? So there is a lot of emphasis in this unit 5 in grade 4 language arts about going beyond the text, not just regurgitating what the text is giving to you, but can you take that, can you internalize it, can you make sense of it with some previous knowledge that you might have, and can you go beyond the text with your understanding. So some higher level thinking happening in unit number 5. Again, all of the reading strategies and reading comprehension strategies that are talked about in the program of studies are all covered in my reading strategies notebook. So here students have a collection of understanding, a collection of posters to help them understand when reading can break down for them. So they have a whole poster on making connections, understanding that when I make a connection to the story, that makes my understanding of the story a lot stronger. Also understanding that I can bring my previous knowledge into the story so that I get a better understanding of the story. All of these reading strategies that we talk about in Unit 5 and in the whole curriculum are covered in my Grade 4 Reading Strategies notebook. Again, the link is in the description below. Now let's talk about the biggest unit in your Grade 4 Language Arts curriculum, and that is the writing unit. So that is unit number 6. The focus here is huge. The focus is basically how can your writing effectively communicate your feelings and your thoughts. So not just writing a story, but really understanding that what you write down is a way of expressing how you are feeling or thinking about something. There are 27 outcomes just in this one unit. So writing is a huge focus in the brand new Grade 4 Language Arts curriculum. There's also a huge chunk just on writing a fictional narrative story. There's 9 outcomes just right there, and it talks about how you can apply a creative thought process to the whole writing process. Talks about writing really exciting beginnings. How can you sustain a reader's attention through, adding enough detail and dialogue? And can you write a thoughtful conclusion to a story as well? That's all embedded in this Unit 6 as well. There's also a section talking about fictional writing versus nonfiction writing. And so how can you express thoughts and ideas in nonfiction as well? So there's that. And then, of course, you have the artistry of communication as well. So practicing keyboarding and printing and cursive writing is in this Unit 6 as well. And if you're wondering, how are you going to cover all of those outcomes in unit number 6, all 27 outcomes in the writing unit? I do have a writing strategies notebook. And again, this is my old version. The new one is getting updated as we speak right now. But in my writing strategies notebook, we talk about things like paragraph writing, opinion writing, perspective, point of view. We also talk about how to write a really good fictional narrative story. We break it down lesson by lesson. We talk about editing your work and adding and revising and peer editing as well. We also talk about poetry and some structure behind poetry. So if you're wondering at all how you're going to cover all of those outcomes, you can rest assured they are all covered in my brand new Grade 4 Writer's Notebook. And the last unit in Grade 4 Language Arts is a conventions unit, so unit number 7. I like to call it grammar and conventions because it talks a lot about the structure of a sentence, what place does a noun and a verb and an adjective have, but what about subject versus an object of a sentence? It also talks about conjunctions, making sure students have the right subject and verb agreement as well in a sentence. And it talks about punctuation and being able to use, quotation marks properly or commas and apostrophes, all of that properly. But the focus here is again on the meanings of words. So yes, you have this word in a sentence, but what does that truly mean in a sentence? And so here, the students are going to dissect again, when they are applying prefixes and suffixes and things like that. What does it mean when you come across a word like that? And also in this unit, in 7.3, there's a chunk on phonics, and that is brand new to the Grade 4 curriculum because last time the assumption was when you get to Grade 3, you've kind of completed all of your phonics lessons, but I like now that they've embedded more phonics practices. And there's not a lot of outcomes here. There's only 4 outcomes, but still, I like to see that it's still continually being built on as well. So that is the Grade 4 Language Arts program in a nutshell. There are 112 outcomes in total in Grade 4 versus 133 in Grade 3. So those of you that are teaching a combined class, just understand that there are more outcomes to be covered in Grade 3 than there are in Grade 4. But both program of studies are quite similar in what the outcomes are. So those of you that are teaching both grades, it should be pretty seamless to weave both of those curriculums together. And again, if you are struggling to fit it all in or you're not sure how to sequence everything and make sure that you have enough writing and reading strategies and grammar and phonics and word wall and daily 5 and all of that, you can grab my brand new grade 4 year plans. I have everything structured in here. I have everything laid out in a month at a glance format. Everything is broken down: reading strategies, writing strategies, grammar and conventions, and I also have word words listed here as well. And if you would like to see how I structure my language arts schedule, you can go to www.threepeaksclassroom.com/ELA schedule. There you can download a free language arts schedule. This is the same schedule that I use in my classroom as well. And I have everything from grammar lessons, phonics lessons, reading strategies, writing strategies, daily 5, journal writing. Yeah, I have it all covered. So if you are interested in grabbing that, again, the website is threepeaksclassroom.com/ELA schedule. Okay, I think we've covered it all. So that was the grade 4 language arts program in a nutshell. Next time I see you guys, I want to go over the grade 4 math curriculum, and that is going to be a doozy. There are some pretty serious outcomes in grade 4 math, so I want to unpack that all. I've already spoken to a few teachers, grade 4 teachers, who have already taught the grade 4 math curriculum, and they have said you need to watch out for this and this. So anyways, we'll talk about that in the next video. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. I will be happy to answer them and reply to you. Hope you guys are having a great day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.